Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another super cool Tyrannosaurus Rex release. This is actually another of the incredible 1/18th scale models that were released by Marco Makes. He had released a few, actually 3 so far, which were the male Tyrannosaurus, which I have already reviewed, so check out the review on the channel if you have not seen it. This is the Doe Tyrannosaurus, the female from the Lost World Jurassic Park, and there's also the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus. So one thing that is just really cool in general is the fact that this is meant to be the female Rex from the Lost World Jurassic Park, who tends to not really get nearly as much love or recognition as she deserves. It is an absolutely epic Tyrannosaurus that has been overlooked. Of course, every time, something is made from the Lost World, they more often than not go for the male Rex, because at the time that was like new, because we had already a female, in the franchise with Jurassic Park. So the female in the Lost World, I think, tends to get overlooked so often, unfortunately. But I'm so happy that Marco went ahead and created us the ultimate version of the Doe Tyrannosaurus from the Lost World. And now, of course, this one was built and painted by me, which I think it turned out pretty nice overall. Definitely, again, the sculpt is absolutely excellent, but I'm pretty happy with my paint apps on this one. I don't know that I'm always happy with my paint apps. Gonna have to readjust the camera because it's just such a big figure, but I am definitely pretty happy with them here with this one. The female Rex from the Lost World is a little tricky when it comes to the coloration and stuff, because there's not all that much when it comes to material out there to really capture the likeness of that T-Rex. So I used, of course, the Dinosaur Style Guide, as well as some images that I could find online to really come up with the color scheme to try to make it look as close as possible to the way she looks on screen. But of course, starting here in the head sculpt, the fine detail is fantastic. You can see all sorts of really impressive skin texture and scale detail as you move through the head of the figure. We obviously have this one sculpted with its mouth in a closed position. The other one was sculpted, the male was sculpted with its mouth in an open position. But what's cool is you can see the mouth just slightly open there on the front of the mouth. All of the teeth, of course, sculpted beautifully as you move along the jawline. Again, the scales look so nice as you lead through the figure. They are really beautifully sculpted out and extremely high quality when it comes to just how vibrant they look on the sculpt itself. You've got like those scoots that kind of move down through the snout, and again some finer skin texture as you move through the palate area and everything. If you look at it from the front, again, look at how impressive and intimidating that T-Rex looks. That is absolutely awesome. We can see, of course, the nostrils and everything sculpted out right here on the snout. When you take it around here to this side again, you can get a really good feel for just how impressive everything is when it comes to the skin texture and the fine detail. Again, the eyes I tried to paint in the best way possible looking forward. I did a pretty good job. I think I have the hardest time doing that, where the pupils are facing straight forward all the time, but I feel like I, for the most part, achieved it pretty well with this one. As you move up and over the top of the dinosaur, of course, you've got more really nice looking scale detail that my camera absolutely doesn't want to focus on. Really vibrant detail. We can see the spinal column moving along the back. You also have like some osteoderms that follow down along the side. Of course, you continue to follow down with the spinal column moving along the back of the figure. The skin texture continues to look fantastic. You've got some skin wrinkles down here in the neck as you lead down through the throat. You can see the throat itself really nicely sculpted, a little bit more skin wrinkles and everything right there. Again, the skin texture continues to look so nice and so vibrant as you move through. As you lead into the body, you continue to have more of those osteoderms following down along. I tried to apply the striping in a really nice subtle way where it's not overbearing, because I don't feel like she really has that, strong striping. It's just kind of like a more subtle striping. Then you lead down, you've got a nice arm sculpt here for the T-Rex. We could see some musculature and, of course, those really nice scoots down the fingers. The elbow present right there. The claws have a genuine sharp look to them as well, which is really nice. The detailing in the stomach looks awesome. Again, exactly as you would see on a Jurassic Park T-Rex. As you lead up, you've got the scoots over the top of the hip, which as well, again, is exactly as you would see on on a Jurassic Park T-Rex. As you lead down, we've got the musculature of the thigh. Again, the skin texture looking super, super well done. We have the kneecap right here in the front of the leg. Nice big bulging calf muscle as we lead down. You can see the shin of the T-Rex. And as you lead into the foot sculpt, you're not going to find, as it headbutts the camera, you're not going to find a more screen-accurate Jurassic Park foot sculpt than that. The scoots down the toes, the claws, everything looks so nice. And I actually chose not to gloss the nails on this because a lot of the time I feel like when nails get glossed, they don't always look all that realistic. At times they maybe look a little too glossy, so I think I'm just going to keep this one like this, and I feel like it should look pretty decent. I did try to apply some little variation of color to the nails to really, again, kind of make them look dirty and lifelike. But then we lead up, you've got some skin wrinkles and folds here as you lead back into the tail. Of course, the spinal column continues to move along the top, and if we actually kind of lead out here, you can see the really nice curvatures to the tail of the T-Rex as you lead along. Again, you can also see that if we look at it from back here. The tail is sculpted beautifully as well, again, when it comes to the fine detail. Same deal if we move down here to the underside. Again, the skin texture continues to look really, really nice and really well done as you move through the underbelly. But one thing that is, of course, always great to see on any Jurassic Park T-Rex are these scales on the underside, because that is exactly what you should see. And so many times different companies and sculptors that create Jurassic Park Tyrannosaurs end up missing that area for some crazy reason, but Marco has captured it perfectly. And when you take a look at the figure, of course, over here, you'll see pretty much the same thing except for the fact that the head is facing away from us, so that's one thing that's a little bit different, kind of stretching the neck out. But you do see the arm held a little bit closer into the body right here, but again, looking equally as beautiful as what we had seen on the first side. You see pretty much the same amount of detail here in the stomach region on the T-Rex, because the legs are pretty close to in the same position on both sides. As you lead back, you'll see pretty much the same type of detail on this side as well. Again, the really nice big bulging calf muscle, the kneecap, the foot sculpt, which again is a picture-perfect T-Rex foot sculpt from the Jurassic franchise. And then also, I think, yes, there's the Marco Makes logo on the underside of the foot. And then, of course, you lead out into the tail again with the really nice curvatures to the tail. One thing about this T-Rex is it's definitely a little bit lighter in the brownish tones compared to what you do see on Rexy. So I did try to replicate, again, that lighter brown sort of a look for the female here from the Lost World. But it is very nicely sized, of course, at 1/18 scale. It's pretty huge. So if we go from the tail to the snout, I'd say it's at about 21¼ inches, or around 54 centimeters. That may not be absolutely picture perfect because of the curvatures of the body. It's a little hard to get a perfect measurement, but height wise to the top of the neck, a little bit over 8 inches, maybe like 8 inches and 1/8, or around 20½ centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect Day human being next to our Tyrannosaurus Rex from Marco Makes. And as you can see again, this Rex is huge and obviously significantly larger than every other figure here next to it, including Mr. Papo T-Rex. As far as a comparison with a Mattel T-Rex, here is the Jurassic World Rebirth Lab Lockdown T-Rex, which you can see the Marco Makes version is just a little bit bigger than the Lab Lockdown T-Rex from Mattel. And you'll see pretty close to the same thing when it comes to the Extreme Damage T-Rex, although I would say that these two might be slightly closer in size, just obviously a little bit more, better proportions and a little bit more body mass on the Marco Makes release. I think that's really all we need to do as far as comparisons go, except for, of course, this one, because we did more comparisons, I think, when it comes to the review of the male Rex. But as you can see, when it comes to these two figures, they are extremely close in size, which is, of course, one of the reasons I brought the other one in here to compare with it, but also because I just really wanted to see the two together. In fact, I have not put these two together since I painted this T-Rex and built it and everything. Since it has been assembled, I have not put these two Tyrannosaurs next to each other because I really wanted to look at them for the first time, get a feel for them next to each other for the first time in this review. I'm going to go ahead actually and move them around just a little bit Man, do these ever look so cool. It is absolutely as amazing as it could possibly get, seeing these two together and seeing just such highly detailed versions of the parent Tyrannosaurs from the Lost World Jurassic Park. Now I just need to bring in Marco's Rubbersaur's young Tyrannosaurus like this, so it can now stand with the parents, and we have the entire family together now when it comes to the Marco Makes Lost World Jurassic Park T-Rex family. And they look so cool. What better way to display them than all together, again complete? So Marco absolutely knocked all of these 1/18th scale models out of the park, but this female T-Rex is just like the chef's kiss, because sure, when it comes to the male, I was so happy to see that he had made the male. When it comes to the Jurassic Park Tyrannosaurs, the male is actually my favorite out of all of the Tyrannosaurs that has ever been in the Jurassic franchise. However, I will say the male has had some love over the years, a lot more than the female has. So when it comes to actually having a really nice, high quality, and very impressively sized version of the female from the Lost World Jurassic Park, I am over the moon excited and happy with this version. It is by far the best Doe Tyrannosaurus from the Lost World that I have ever seen. Sculpt-wise, it is picture perfect, spot on, because that is something that you'll always find when it comes to Marco Makes. He is so good at creating the perfect versions of the dinosaurs that you see on screen. He studies every aspect about them when creating his models, and I really could not ever imagine finding a more perfectly sculpted version of the female T-Rex than this. And of course, I also love the fact that the pose is so nicely done, with it just kind of standing there next to the male and with its mouth closed, almost kind of looking over at the male like it's kind of interested in why the male is letting out a vocalization or something along those lines. They just pose so nicely together. The sculpt is super highly detailed as well. Marco always includes every ounce of detail in his models that you could expect to find, again, for the positioning and everything, and of course making sure it is as screen accurate as possible. So as far as the actual sculpt goes, that as well is perfect, of course, when it comes to the fine detail and overall appearance. The paintwork, of course, was done by me, so it's really up to you to decide if the paintwork looks good. I'm really quite happy with it, but again, the female's a tricky one to find like actual images of and everything to get a good feel for the full body as far as the colors go, so did my best I could do as far as matching this up to what the female looks like. So in the comment section, I would love to hear what you guys think of this. Again, if you are interested, I don't think this is available right now. I believe the kits weren't on his Etsy shop the last time I looked, but hopefully they'll be back at some point soon. You can always let Marco know, of course, by responding in the comment section here if you would be interested in grabbing one. And of course, I'm sure if there's interest, he's going to put some more up. So let him know in the comment section if you would like to grab one of these. I highly recommend doing so. And of course, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.